Hey, this is Jurgen Rasmussen. Welcome to the Provocative Hypnosis Vlog. This is going to be a short and sweet one. It's my take on whether it's a good idea to work with friends and family members. And I would have to say, for the most part, no. It's usually not a very good idea. Now, having said that, I'm very sure that you can, on occasion, I mean, people listening to this will be able to provide plenty of counterexamples of having helped friends and family members, and that's completely fine. Um, After a lot of time and experimentation, I've landed on it in most instances not being a good idea. And I'll tell you how I landed there. One of the most important things in doing good quality change work is that of boundaries, clear roles and expectations, and having a clean relationship. So, one thing that makes a therapeutic or coaching relationship very powerful is that the roles are clearly defined and the relationship is clean. The boundaries are hopefully well set, meaning that you and the other person have no other relationship entanglements than this particular coaching or change work relationship. Now, the reason this is important is because if you work with a friend or a family member, they may often have fears, concerns, worries about revealing aspects of themselves to you due to a fear that you might perceive them differently if they do. You know, having a fear that some of what they reveal may damage the relationship or damage how you view them. And this can result in them being more guarded and less forthcoming than they would otherwise be. And depending upon their own psychology and the relationship, they may fear that if they reveal certain things, that not only may it change your perception of them, or that it may change the relationship, or they may even fear that other family members or friends may get access to that information and that you might use it against them at a later date. So this again may result in them holding back, being more guarded, being less responsive than they otherwise would have been. Now, another thing with friends and family members too is that they can often be competitive, right? So they may have something of a competitive relationship with you, and to some extent, when you see clients as a professional, it really helps if they buy into the idea that you are a professional and that they respect that you have some authority in terms of knowledge and competency. If this is your kid brother or older brother or mother or whatever it might be, um, they may not necessarily view you that way. They're going to view you as their kid brother for the most part, and that may also make them way less responsive than they otherwise would have been. Now, another flip aspect of this too is that your perceptions of this person is also going to be less clean. And you have to realize that there's a ton of difference between a regular social conversation and really good change work conversations. It's not the same thing. Sometimes people want to do this type of work because they say, oh yeah, I'm always the person everyone comes to for support or to talk with or to lend an ear, or I'm socially good and sophisticated. Therefore, that means I would be a great agent of change. Not necessarily so. Very different. Very different. You may also notice that some really good agents of change aren't necessarily the most socially elegant or socially oriented individuals either. So I'm not saying that this is 100% correct, by the way. There's something to it. Let me throw out two different one-liners from different sources that I both think has something to them. The first one is from Nassim Taleb, where he says that if you can think of a reason why you and someone else are friends, you're not friends. I like that one. There's kind of something to it if you think about it. The other one, I'm not sure if it's from Thomas Szasz or Byron Katie. I think it's one or the other, or maybe a combination of both. But a friendship is two people who have mutually agreed to support each other's mythologies, right? So if we're friends, there's this tacit, implicit agreement that I'm going to support how you want to see yourself, and you're going to support how I want to see myself, right? You can really see this in that, very deep friendships, where people could, risk their own life to save the other or sacrifice a lot of stuff, can easily go to shit if you challenge some of the other person's sacred assumptions or identities or who they think they are or who they want to be, right? So a lot of the fabric of social life is people reinforcing each other's mythologies. This is a lot of the social banter and the kind of social glue, right? Some people are really good at that, and they're really socially elegant. And now realize that to be effective as an agent of change, you need to be able to create a sense of connection with someone. You really need to be able to have that experience with someone. And there is an element of validating and supporting people for them to be responsive or for there to be a learning context to begin with. But you can't stop there. A huge element of change work is doing the opposite. It's of challenging people's sacred beliefs. It's about challenging people's mythologies, identities, self-concepts, memories. It's about being willing and able to stay present with the person as you really challenge and provoke them, coming from both the intellect and the heart on such a level. And this can often be damn uncomfortable, right? But this can very often be where the gold lies. It really helps if you have a clean, clear relationship with the other person, where you want the person to have insights, have transformations, have changes, but you don't need it. You're detached in that sense. Now, if you have a relationship to the other person, relationship, friendship, romantic, family, you are most likely not going to go as deep or push them as hard due to fear of conflict in the relationship, due to fear of, if I push this or if I go there, that might ruin the friendship, right? You'll be more likely to back off. But if you don't have that relationship, if you have a clean relationship, you can go anywhere. You can go anywhere with that person. And I think that very often lies at the basis for like really deep change, is your willingness and your capacity to join and go anywhere with that particular client. And the only way you can do that is if you really sort yourself out, as a human being, and if you have clear boundaries and a really clean relationship, right? So my strong recommendation is just don't. You're more likely than not doing the other person a disservice, because there are competent, skilled people out there with a good heart who you can refer them to, who can do that work with them and have a clean relationship, while you can have the romantic relationship, the friendship, or the family relationship. I also think, being able to go from training room to a professional practice, I think training companies should be way more supervision oriented, where you get to do a lot of sessions with supervision. You really should have a lot of time like that before you start charging money. Some people try to compensate by working on close family members and think that will gain confidence. But I suspect that very often it doesn't, because those sessions will be very different, and they're often way, way, way harder to do, because the chances of the other person quite taking it seriously is rather slim. So leave your family members, your friends, your family alone. I virtually never do those sorts of sessions. And I'm also open for the possibility that in some friendships or in some contexts in life, doing the sessions yourself may be the thing to do. But I would highly urge you to consider that. As I said, clear relationships, strong boundaries, and the willingness and the capability to stay connected and go anywhere with that particular person is really where it lies. And that depends upon both skill and maturity in yourself, but it also depends upon having that clean, clear relationship. If this resonates with you and you'd like to work with me, you can reach me at provocativhypnosis.com if you want to do client work. If you're curious about mentoring, you can also find me at the exact same place. If you have a comment or a question, feel free to leave it wherever you found this particular episode. Till next time.